afternoon. This is Derek Chamblee, broadcasting from Chamblee, Atlanta, the next great American city, Battleground Zero, the epicenter of the 2017 civil defense of the United States of America. And it's winding up on 4:30 in the afternoon here in Chamblee, Atlanta. Been raining off and on. It's Friday, July 7th, 2017, following the breaking articles. Actually, it was early this morning. Politico ran an article about the fear in the intelligence community of Attorney General Jeff Sessions' directives to find the leakers, and also that a lot of the leaks are coming out of the White House still, the White House staff at any rate. We're going back cybercircle time to an article that was released by Slate.com, and this article was released January 18th, 2016, and quite an interesting article. The headline there, "The Color of Surveillance," and you're looking at a photograph run by Slate.com of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the subheading is "What an Infamous Abuse of Power Teaches Us About the Modern Spy Era," written by Alvaro M. Bedoya, B-E-D-O-Y-A, Slate.com. And it's quite an article. We're going to start from the top. The FBI has a lead. A prominent religious leader and community advocate is in contact with a suspected sleeper agent of foreign radicals. The Attorney General is briefed and personally approves wiretaps of his home and offices. The man was born in the United States, the son of a popular cleric. Even though he's an American citizen, he's placed on a watch list to be summarily detained in the event of a national emergency. Of all similar suspects, the head of the FBI domestic intelligence thinks he's the, quote, most dangerous, unquote, at least, quote, from the standpoint of national security. Is this a lone wolf in league with foreign sponsors of terror? No. This was the life of Martin Luther King Jr. That FBI assessment was dated August 30th, 1963, 2 days after King told our country that he had a dream. We now find ourselves in a new surveillance debate, and the lessons of the King scandal should weigh heavy on our minds. A few months after the first Edward Snowden revelation, the National Security Agency disclosed that it had itself wiretapped King in the late 1960s. Yet what happened to King is almost entirely absent from our current conversation. The NSA reform debates in the House of Representatives, King was mentioned only a handful of times, usually in passing. And we're going to skip down in the article a little bit now. There is a myth in this country that in a world where everybody is watched equally. It's as if an old and racist J. Edgar Hoover has been replaced by the race-blind magic of computers, mathematics, and big data. The truth is more uncomfortable. Let's stop right there. The interesting thing is, at that time, the Attorney General authorized J. Edgar Hoover's FBI to wiretap Martin Luther King Jr. And his associates. And at any rate, the Attorney General at that time was Robert F. Kennedy. And now we have a new Attorney General, Alabama Justice Jeff Sessions. So we'll continue with the article. Across our history and to this day, people of color have been disproportionate victims of unjust surveillance. Hoover was no aberration, and while racism has played its ugly part, the justification for this monitoring was the same we hear today: national security. We continue with the article. the FBI's violations against King were undeniably tinged by what historian David Garrow says, quote, an organizational culture of like-minded white men, unquote, unquote. But as Garrow and others have shown, the FBI's initial wiretap requests and then Attorney General Robert Kennedy's approval of them were driven by a suspected tie between King and the Communist Party. It wasn't just King. Cesar Chavez, the labor and civil rights leader, was tracked for years as a result of vague, confidential tips about a, quote, communist background, unquote, as were many others. Many people know that during World War II, innocent Americans of Japanese descent were surveilled and detained in internment camps. Fewer people know that in the wake of World War I, President Woodrow Wilson openly feared that black servicemen returning from Europe would become, quote, the greatest medium in conveying Bolshevism, which led to was communism, to America. Around the same time, the Military Intelligence Division created a special, quote, Negro subversion, unquote, section devoted to spying on black Americans. Near the top of its list was W.E.B. Du Bois, a, quote, ranked socialist whom they tracked in Paris for fear he would, quote, attempt to introduce socialist tendencies at the peace conference, unquote. This pattern was not limited to the past. For years after September 11th, the New York Police Department, with significant help from the CIA, monitored bookstores, restaurants, and nightclubs in Muslim neighborhoods and placed informants known as, quote, mosque crawlers, unquote, in places of worship where they reported on sermons and recorded the license plates of innocent congregants. Now, the article goes on, and we're going to skip down here. And actually, the next NSA debate will peak at the end of 2017. That's the expiration date of another surveillance law that allows the government to read without a warrant certain messages stored on companies' U.S. servers, where at least one party of the communication was a foreign living abroad. Will Congress probe the likely disparate impact of this law? If not, when will Congress reckon with the color of surveillance? This is Derek Chamblee. This is Trump Path, NSA, FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, Martin Luther King, MLK, the new Black Panther Party, Black Lives Matter, the American Civil Liberties Union, the NAACP, Food Not Bombs, Mayor Bob Buckhorn of Tampa, the Tampa Criminal Intelligence Bureau, and illegal domestic spying on the protest groups to have them arrested and shut down in the city of Tampa, in coordination with Homeland Security on the basis of national security, that some kind of way they can be identified as potential enemy combatants in the war on terror. This is Derek Chamblee, July 7th, 2017, Chamblee, Atlanta, Cyber Citizen Network, Friday. Thank you very much.